4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me.
Oh, that's right. You're hearing another episode of Paranomics, and I'm psyched out of my mind by your favorite paramaniacs.
Welcome to Talk Supernatural Radio. I can't help but laugh at that. I'm sorry. I don't even know I can be serious right now. That was so funny. Welcome to Talk Supernatural Radio. Aaron and sharing the possibilities and truths of spiritual realities. I'm Heidi Linden.
And I am Scott Linden, and I hope you're ready for another episode of Wild Topics.
I'm sure they're ready for the episode. I don't know if they're ready for you or us.
Of course they are. They're always ready.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone can ever be totally ready for us, but... yeah, ready or not, true. Here I come, so...
Yeah, ready or not, here you are.
Yeah,
so,
here I is.
Oh, tonight we are going to be talking about an array of things. We've got some paranormal headlines, and we also want to talk about some misconceptions in the supernatural.
You mean not everything you read on the internet or hear on TV is true?
I know. It's pretty crazy.
Come on.
I know. Now I'm blowing everybody's mind. Sorry, but we are going to be talking. You want to start with some news? Let's start with some news.
Okay.
Paranormal news. So the first thing I want to talk about is something everybody is buzzing about in the paranormal field right now. It's the deaths of Mark and Debbie Constantino. They were paranormal investigators. They're known for their appearances on the Travel Channel and the Ghost Adventures. We never watched it, so we don't watch ghost shows. But I do know who they are.
We find enough of our own.
Yeah, that's why we don't watch them, is because we live it. We don't need to watch other people's stuff.
We ran into that, so.
Yeah, and we've also dealt with TV shows, so we know that a lot of it isn't real, so it's like we don't bother.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So, they're paranormal investigators on the show, and what you saw on camera really wasn't what was going on off camera. So, I guess they had this abusive relationship, but it went both ways. A lot of people are, because what happened was he ended up killing her. Mark killed his wife, Debbie, and he killed himself. And before that, he killed her roommate, Jimmy Anderson. So everybody is sort of making the focal point of the domestic abuse.
Sounds like a dead subject.
Beyond. Well, but being supernatural investigators, we should probably take a different route. So I'm wondering, what do you think? Do you think maybe there could be, because of the work they did and stuff, spiritual oppression or demonic influence caused some of this?
We could go on for weeks with all the different things it could be. Is there drugs? Is there alcohol involved? Abusive relationship? How they meet? How do they handle things? I believe that any level of evil of any kind is going to have some sort of demonic influence, suggestion.
Right.
The talking in the ear thing. That's where it comes from. It's been told to me that any time that you have anger or sin involved, that it's sin that created it.
Yeah.
Something created the anger and resentment or whatever it is, and it's usually sin that follows it.
Yeah.
Or proceeds it, I should say.
And I agree with that. And me.
I said a big word, proceeds. Is that big?
That's big for you.
It is big for me.
We won't get into the spelling.
I can spell proceed.
Can you?
Yeah.
All right.
But just don't have time for it right now.
Oh, right. Yeah, we got limited show here. So.
Yeah.
All right. I believe you. Yeah. But anyways, so you know how I always take the completely spiritual, supernatural view. And when you're talking like that, saying, that sin causes sin or causes that violence and anger, which I totally agree with. If you look at every single case, I see it supernaturally, and I see it as, when you've got, I always talk about being in like that spiritual bubble, and one little hole will cause, something will come in.
You're not in a bubble.
I am sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy.
A very
love
lofty,
life.
very lofty bubble.
If I was in like a teenager or whatever in the 70s, instead of being born in the 70s, I totally would have been like one of those hippie. I love being barefoot and everything. I love flowers. I'm just a happy person. That's just the way I am.
What?
Yeah, and we balance each other out well. But anyways, so the reason I bring up the spiritual aspect is because, okay, so he said something. There's a lot of news accounts of what went on. And when the police, what had happened was they got into a fight, and they were already estranged. And he was facing him and his, I think it was their daughter together, or just his daughter. I don't know for sure. He had a 23-year-old daughter, and they, a month ago, kidnapped her, Debbie. And they, like, beat her and all this stuff. But
The daughter?
The daughter and the dad kidnapped the mom.
And beat her?
And they're both facing charges from a month ago. So they're estranged and whatever. And so,
oh, wow.
I know, it's just really weird. So it's, like, not just him. And actually, there's a story.
What do you want to do tonight?
There's
Let's
court
go pick
records.
Up Mom and beat her. Okay.
I guess
mean,
she's...
wow.
It's really weird. And...
There's a whole bunch to this.
Yeah. And also, not only being a family issue because of the work they did. I'm wondering what they could have brought in. They dealt with a lot of spiritual stuff, ghosts and spirits. But Debbie also was said to have attacked him on another occasion, and she, had a domestic abuse thing. So both of them, all of them.
We've experienced, where negativity in the house. And now we're not beating each other, but and sometimes for no reason.
Yeah, just
and usually you catch it and you point it out.
Well, yeah.
But a lot of times it's just too late. I mean, it's like,
already
why
happened.
are you angry all of a sudden out of absolutely nowhere over such a stupid thing? And at the time, I gotta tell you, it doesn't seem like a stupid thing or anything minor. But then when you get away from it for a little bit or whatever, you're like, yeah, why was I so mad about something so stupid?
Yeah.
And there's always something, when you do this kind of work. And for all those that are new listeners, how can you be Christians and do this kind of work? Listen to previous podcasts.
The little disclaimer there.
Jeez, we get it every week. How can you call yourself a Christian? Listen to the previous podcasts.
We're definitely not the secular Christians, for sure.
No.
But we do follow the word. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So anyways, so with this story, so what happens is he ends up, I don't really know exactly what happened. I wasn't there, but according to news accounts, he killed her roommate and he kidnaps her, takes her to his daughter's house. I don't think his daughter was there, and so the police approach the house because they ping her cell and they find her, and it ends up that they yelled to him, let us in or whatever, and he says, "Give me 15 minutes to gather my thoughts or I'll kill her." So right there, that triggers something's going on in his head. Like, that's not something you would say when the cops are in front and you're ready to kill. Hold on, give me time to collect my thoughts. And I'm sure he didn't say it exactly.
Right.
But he did say that. So we know that they work with spirits, and their 23-year-old daughter, right?
Yeah.
Because she had these issues too, it was in the entire family. The whole darkness and the ghosts and spirits. So maybe they were being, maybe there was so much negativity. You know how that goes. It's like, have you ever made a chocolate banana? And you dip it in the chocolate, and then the chocolate goes over the banana, and then you put it in the freezer. And then...
what happens, Heidi?
And then it's not enough chocolate. So you dip it in more, and then the chocolate gets thicker. And so that's what it's like every time you do a new investigation or a...
Investigations like bananas and chocolate.
Exactly. See, you're getting
it. And then
it.
when you dip it and you freeze it and you dip it and you freeze it and you dip it and you freeze it. So do you ever get to the point where there's too much chocolate and not enough banana?
No.
Okay.
No. There's actually too much banana half
these
the
people
time.
you're going to just blow their minds. This
I
might
know
be a
this is
little
deep.
too much for anybody to
deep?
handle tonight.
What I'm saying is with
The only ones
each
that
investigation, you've got another layer of chocolates. You know what I'm saying?
What's that bar that listens to us?
Oh, Breezy's?
No.
I don't
was
remember.
In Kenosha, but they have all the people. They're the only ones that are going to be okay with this because they will have drank enough to be like, yeah.
Right on, Heidi. Gosh,
she's right.
She's
get
so
a banana
deep.
and get some chocolate. Let's go.
Wow, she should write a book. Well, I don't know. I just wonder, and it's just a really sucky situation. It's pretty sad that it happened, and because they were known for their paranormal work, now
darkness will be followed by darkness.
Yeah, you gotta be so careful in this field.
That's why stink always follows poop. It always does.
Yeah, no matter how much Febreze you try.
No matter how much,
trust us,
it
we know.
just is.
Got a dog. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so another news story. There's this viral video going around, okay?
Viral video.
It's supposedly of this poltergeist activity. Yeah, okay. And I say supposed because I don't buy it. But it is all over the news circuits. So what you see is you see this chandelier. It's moving by itself. Things are moving. Things are falling. It's in the kitchen.
Broomsticks topple over and they clink together.
Yeah.
Metal bowls clattering on the floor.
Yeah.
Cupboard doors swinging open and red buckets sliding across the room.
Right. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
That's good. But the thing is, this lady's saying that her place is haunted, whatever.
Maybe it's just a mess. And there's a cat in there. And he's trying to find his bowl.
Well, you don't
and all
see
this
a
stuff's
cat.
happening.
You don't see the cat.
Maybe
the cat's
it's a really fast cat.
It all happens at one time. So she's got this can. But here's my thing. So you watch this video and everybody's like, it's haunted, it's haunted. No, I don't think so at all. Because one, she has the camera like right there, perfect for everything, okay? And then the couple things that happen that are really major, you don't actually see it happen. Like she's panned over somewhere else, and then all of a sudden the bucket slides and she pans over to the bucket. It's like
the bucket's already slid.
You're right. And the chandelier, okay, I did see that moving, but that doesn't mean you can't see what's on the left of the screen or the right. It could be a fan.
It could be a little fishing line.
Yeah, because the lighting is pretty poor.
There you go.
Yep,
they
you
did it
never
all
see-
the time in the movies in the old days.
Well, and then, we've seen magic tricks done before. I mean, could be sort of like the same thing. Easily set up.
Hocus pocus.
Oh, yeah. So you rarely see that much activity at one time with any haunting. And
Yeah,
spirits,
at that level to have that much going on,
yeah.
oh, there would be some problems.
Right. I don't
Like
believe
a
it.
little more than just some rattling and stuff. If you've got that much activity going on, these people would not be there. They'd be like,
I'll
we
put
want to get out.
I'll put the link up to the video if anybody hasn't
Put
seen
the
it
link on the video.
on our Facebook page.
Facebook page.
So you guys can watch it and see what I'm saying. But I don't buy it. I believe that she,
We
for
don't
whatever
buy
reason...
it. We ain't buying it, huh?
Some-
You ain't selling us on nothing here.
That's right.
We ain't buying it. We don't want none of it here. That's what I'm talking about.
Some
I don't
people-
care.
I don't get it.
care.
I don't know
Why not a blue bucket? Why was it a red bucket? That's what I'm talking about. These people, they just come up with their own thing,
Yeah. That's what I was wondering. Why not a
Yeah.
blue bucket?
Why not a blue bucket or a green bucket? No, it had to be a red bucket. And how many
Red
people
like
have these
blood.
red buckets?
Yeah. I've never seen...
I don't know.
I don't have a red
It
bucket.
all smells a little fishy to me, I'm telling you.
I agree. Boy, I didn't really hit on the red bucket thing, but yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
That's cool.
Deep.
Definitely fake now.
Big time.
So, yeah. So don't believe it. It's not true.
Don't believe it.
I don't. Okay, there's like a 1% chance it's true. I don't want to call her a liar, but 1% chance it could be true. But there's no way. Special effects, video camera, Photoshop. People can get real creative.
Oh, nowadays with even
Can't trust anything.
The basic technology that you can buy from the store.
Yeah.
It's like you can do some pretty incredible things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, forget it. Okay, so another subject.
Another subject. This would be another subject.
Paranormal tours.
Paranormal tours.
So October's coming up, Halloween, tis the season for ghost tours.
October.
You okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's a nice little wrap there. So, would you pay money to go on a ghost tour?
Yes.
You would?
Yes. All the money I have ever. No.
No. No, you wouldn't.
I especially wouldn't. I mean...
We've been, not on a ghost tour, but when we went to Mantino with that group, we didn't pay.
No, we didn't pay.
We went, and it was just to experience, to investigate, and to experience stuff that was going on there. But we didn't pay for anything. So, but, okay, so
But
here's...
some have to pay with their soul.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so Tombstone. The famous OK Corral shootout. Wide Earp. Doc Holliday. Woo, I love it. Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer. Yeah. I'll be your Huckleberry. Remember that?
I was like,
love that movie.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Oh, I love that movie. Well, anyways, okay, Tombstone, Arizona. It's known for its silver mining and gunfights. It was the epitome of the Wild West.
Yes.
And it's a real small town. It's huge on tourism now. My sister lives near there. Before my dad passed,
You didn't get to
he
go,
lived
did
there.
you, when you went out there?
Well, no, since my dad died, I didn't really have time to go to Tombstone.
Well, I know, but your sister was going to like take you, I think, anyways, huh? But it was like 115 degrees out. Literally, it was like a record-setting temperatures going on.
My dad did want to take me down there. They do like all kinds of things there. They do like what do you call it? Like New Year's Eve stuff there, and I guess it's a lot of fun.
When do they do that?
I think it's like December 31st.
Wow, what a coincidence!
I know, right when New Year's Eve, they plan it real well. But you know, they really rely on their tourism. Okay, and it has like total multiple themed tours going on there.
But there's been a rip-off here at the old K Corral.
Yeah, big time. So this woman named Carol Malone, she organized this 3-day event. She had speakers.
3 days.
Number 3. She said, okay, it was a total scam.
3 days, you live in the belly of a whale. Never mind, go ahead.
Okay. She said there were going to be speakers, paranormal celebrities, ghost tours. So she goes there, she sets up with local businesses, bed and breakfasts, saying, hey, I've got this thing going on. People are going to be coming and whatnot. And I don't know if she advertised online or what. But people were paying hundreds of dollars in reserved spots for this 3-day event, thinking that they were going to do this huge thing. And then in the meantime, this Carol Malone is calling the local places, setting it up. So when people are calling to reserve, they're like, okay, everybody is stupid enough to give this chick her money, and she's going to disperse it however after. But when the day came, and the people came, guess what? No Carol. And they're all like, in fact, the one of the bed and breakfast inns, she had 15 people, 15 rooms reserved, like that she talked to Carol about. Oh. But Carol had talked to 80 people. So all these people show up, and she doesn't even have the room for them. And no one's paid. So these people are here. They've flown. They drove.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's crazy. Isn't that messed up?
Oh, that's a little more than messed up.
Yeah, well, she got caught, finally. She did get caught, and she got arrested, so probably is going to do
restitution, too. But
restitution, that's a lot of money.
Man.
So, you know, when you're online and you're looking for these ghost tours, you better be... she was released.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but like you said, restitution.
Yeah.
So she's probably released.
That might take a while. She might still be paying it.
Yeah, because making license plates, she ain't going to be paying that back for a while.
Well, you know, you can have an abandoned location, a place with some interesting history. But voila, what will you really have? An instant ghost tour.
A ghost tour?
A ghost tour. Yes.
Yes.
4,000 years ago, someone died here. It is legit. Let's make it the ghost tour.
And then people say, oh, let's take a picture. And then they get their pictures back, and there's dust in it or bugs reflection off the lights. Look at all the orbs. And now everybody's excited.
Love?
Or they put the camera on the special setting for nighttime, and unless it's on a tripod, which most people don't carry their tripods around, and you're going to get streaks of light, and they're going to think it's ghosts. Or a fog or mist, and guess what? It's a ghostly mist.
Then you need a foghorn.
Yeah, you sure do. Like, that's not spiritual.
Yeah, right.
And you find a lot of people will get pictures in graveyards and stuff, and they're like, look at the mist. It's like...
Well, a lot of these people, too, are just... They're not even amateur photographers.
Right, so they...
And they're just grabbing their camera phone. Now a lot of it's camera phones, but, I mean, they're just taking pictures, and it's like there's just way too much room for error in that.
And you know what? I can admit, when we first did our first graveyard years ago, and they didn't even... I don't even think we had digital stuff going on. We had to take it to Walgreens.
That whole thing was just... I gotta tell you... That whole time in those graveyards was just a dead-end job, though. It was.
Oh, wah, wah, wah. Whatever.
It was mindless.
But we got all excited. We take it to Walgreens. We go out to eat. We come back.
Rotting flesh in the ground.
Oh. No, keep going, will you?
I'm just going to listen to you. But do you remember that? We'd drop our stuff off at the 1 hour at Walgreens at like 2 in the morning.
Clink. Clink.
And we'd come back. And we'd be so excited because we had all these pictures and of orbs and lights, and it was like dust, and it was bugs off the reflection off the flash, and we didn't know.
All it was dust in the wind.
Yeah, exactly. So, but regarding these tours, I've heard of people paying close to $1,000 for private tours. Like, they'll go somewhere from, like, let's say they stay from midnight to 6 a.m. to experience ghosts, and they're paying $1,000 for this. Yeah. And It's like the worst part is many lie, like they give you false accounts of what happened. Sometimes the whole history's fabricated, and then they promote paranormal stuff on lies.
Well, another something, I don't know if you picked up on this, though. You can have a place that's known to be incredibly active.
Right.
But not for everybody.
Right.
You might be able to go there and, plenty of action, plenty of going on.
Because I'm out!
Realistically, when I go to these same places, I'd be like, what's wrong?
Yeah.
And why? It's a level of sensitivity, it's
right.
spiritualism. It's a level of something that I don't feel that you do. You feel that? You hear that? You see that? I'm like, no.
No.
I don't see that. When am I going out to eat?
That's all I care about. That's why I always liked when we did our stuff, we would know when we felt something, we'd take a picture, and then that would be cool. We'd get, confirmation that there was something there.
Well, I was kind of the mediator with everybody because I had 3 or 4 different people, all with abilities that were very similar, and I'd be able to go to each one of them individually, and I'd be able to find out truth. Because
we had a rule not to tell each other what we were getting.
Right.
We had our little notepads,
right.
and we wouldn't talk until afterwards just to compare. Yeah. That's the way you have to do it. You got to be real careful. Yeah. And, we had an awesome team. Yeah. You have to have a team that you can trust, and you have to weed through the people you don't trust.
Weed through the people that you don't trust. Throw them to the curb.
But with these tours, you're going to risk not guaranteed to have an experience. And
that's
so you're
right.
paying for a maybe. But perfect example, when we were with that one group, before we were our own group, and we went to that haunted hotel up somewhere, and we got to stay there for free.
And we got in the room
that
was to have the most
activity.
Yeah.
And we really didn't, the only thing that happened was my coat was on a hanger.
Right.
And it was moving when we were talking about it. And we looked for vents and stuff, and we didn't see anything. Took pictures of the coat moving back and forth. But that was all. We stayed there all night.
And then the bed, remember when the bed rotated when we were sleeping in it?
No, it did
remember
not.
That?
No, that didn't happen.
Oh.
No.
You remember when the faucets turned on and off by themselves and blood came out of them?
No. You must have been dreaming.
Oh.
That didn't happen. But we were in the main hall with the other people, and remember I said I feel something, and I thought I saw like a figure walk in. We took a picture, and there was a mist around there.
Yeah, we got that picture.
Yeah, but I mean that was all.
It wasn't much for something.
But we didn't have to pay to go there. In fact, they let us stay there for free to investigate. So when you're looking up these tours and stuff, which I don't recommend, because be careful for what you ask for, because if you're going to go out ghost hunting...
I recommend it.
No, absolutely, you do not.
You're going to waste your money on something, you might as well have fun.
No.
Just kidding. Man, people are so serious.
People, I'm the only one in the room.
Yeah, but there's thousands of listeners going, oh, he said it, we should be going.
No, they probably will now. And they paused it because that's all they want to hear.
Yeah, they're already gone. They're down the store asking people,
on their
do you know
phones.
where we can go? No, don't do that.
Oh, it's, because you could bring something home. If you're seeking out something, you don't know what you're going to get.
Sometimes, be careful what you ask for, they say.
It's just
find it.
I know people want the thrill and the excitement, but I don't know. So, anyways, but what I'm saying is...
Really want to be scared, you can go for a ride with my wife in the car. You'll be scared. Oh,
I'm a good driver. So, if you're a history buff, though, that's sort of neat just to hear the history. But I always recommend to look up the history of the place and do a lot of research before you go, because you might hear a lot of BS. And you don't know what you're paying for, So, if you like history, remember we went to, I think it was Bayfield, and we were going to take their little haunted walk or whatever through the thing, but it was because we wanted to hear the history of it, but
I
think it was raining or something,
city,
so we didn't go.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Okay, so along those lines of ghost tours and stuff, Ed and Lorraine Warren, the most popular probably occult people around, and, the Jam and the exorcisms and stuff, they have an occult museum, all right, which we've talked about before, although I absolutely love their work, and I agree with how they do most of their stuff. We don't agree with them taking tokens to their house and putting them in cases and letting people come look at them, like the Annabelle doll. And it's like, when you go to someone's house to help them, you don't say, hey, I mean, we burned everything.
Yeah.
Remember we burned a bassinet? Was it a bassinet or Ouija boards? Boy, yeah, that was a lot of firewood. A lot of Ouija boards.
The Ouija boards, the bassinet.
You have to burn it. You don't keep it to look at and say, hey. I mean, that's...
Remember that one chair, though? We wouldn't even bring it back. You were like, we can't even bring this chair back to burn it.
I think I remember that. Yeah. So what did we do with it? We destroyed it there, right?
We put it in somebody else's garbage and smashed it and put it in somebody else's garbage because we couldn't even have it on the property. It was like, you were like, this thing we can't have in a car with us. Although I thought it just looked like a chair, but...
It had so much negative energy.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was a small...
Yeah,
it was like a
I
little
do remember
rocking,
that.
a child's rocking chair they picked up at an antique store or something.
Yeah, I do remember that really well. Yep.
And it was at that one cop lady's house.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Okay.
A lot of weird stuff happened there.
A lot. I mean, while we were there.
While we were there, a lot of stuff
phone
happened.
ringing, and there's no one there. Lights blinking.
Yeah.
Oh, that was nuts. Yeah, that was
a
pretty
lot
crazy.
happening. Yeah.
But they didn't listen to us, so who knows what happened to them. They wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
We want to do it our way.
They were deaf, so...
They were not deaf.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, there's an example right there. I mean, remember one of the biggest problems with that family was?
Yeah.
There was 3 different practicing religions
And
in the
major
house.
religions. And they
Yes.
were all, I mean, it was a
They're
huge
all
issue
in their
for them.
own little shell, doing their own little thing in the house. And it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's like, you know, probably, you know, mixing up gasoline or something like that. That could be really bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here they are mixing up like 3 different bad things together at one time.
Which are all against each other.
Oh, this is really bad. You just can't do this.
Yeah.
I mean, you're better off not knowing anything than to start taking and mixing all this different spiritual energy and this different thought and this occult and this belief and that belief, and then you're just making a mess, you know?
Yeah.
It's like giving a kindergartner a whole thing of finger paint. You know what you're going to get when you're done. You're going to get a mess.
Well said. I agree. Yeah.
Don't expect a drawing. You're going to get a mess.
Yeah, and and they wouldn't listen to us. But, I mean, what do? You've got 3 major religions, and their faiths were very, very strong. I don't
And
think
each of their own thing, and it's like...
They're not going to budge on
Do
any
people
of it.
ever talk? You live in the same house.
Yeah, that was weird. It's like, that's... So, yeah, but that was crazy. They had a lot of activity while we were there. But anyway, so the Warrens, what they do is when they have these investigations or they go help people, they take, if there's a point of problem, like I said, whether it's the Annabelle doll or stuff like that, they'll bring it back with them. And then you put it for display for people to come. They charge, like, I've heard $129 just to walk through this museum. Hundreds of thousands of people have gone to see this.
Oh, I believe it.
And although, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, that would be really cool. You know what? So would a lot of things, but you're not going to do it. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think
seems like a lot of money.
Well, yeah, you're spending a lot of money, and it's like, why would you tempt spirits like that? And
It's a lack of understanding too, though.
I'm going to get all into this.
A lot of people, whether they're the Warrens or anybody else, they feel they have control. They have control of the spirit. They have control of the situation.
You can't lock up a
You can't
spirit
control,
anywhere. You can't lock up a spirit in a case. And that gets to some of this too. So they've got all these haunted artifacts, right? And it's been over 50 years of cases. Okay, so, they advertise that you can see the shadow doll that can come to you in your dreams and stop your heart.
Oh, nice.
Hey, you want to pay $129 to go do that? Let's see if it happens.
Oh, yeah, my heart stopped. I'm dead. You're right. It was worth the money.
And there was a story. There's been stories, too, where people have, like, mocked the Annabelle doll and stuff.
Bad idea.
Yeah, and they've gotten hurt. People have said that they've been cursed when they've left, and I totally believe it. Because they're not locking up anything. These demons are just hanging out, waiting for people to come.
The human race in general feels they have just so much power and control over things. Even Michael, the archangel, when contending over Moses' body and what he could do with it. And, Satan's like, well, Moses did this and Moses did that. And Michael, he was just like, you know what? Paraphrasing, he said, the Lord's already dealt with you. I got nothing to say.
Yeah. I'm already,
because he
I'm like, God deal with you.
It's like, you know what? The ultimate's already dealt with. There's nothing I could possibly say that's going to change anything here.
Right.
You've been dealt with. And to think that you have the power or the control over the enemy when even Michael the Archangel won't say anything bad. He is like, just leave things alone.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
That's probably one of the biggest misconceptions is that people think that they have some kind of control or power or that they can manage spirits. And when we talk about when we help people, it's because we go to God, who's the high source.
We're using...
We don't do it.
Yeah,
we're asking him. We're sort of like
and
the
for
tools.
those, there's plenty of those that are involved in different types of beliefs, and they believe that they have this control. It's like, that's what they've let you believe, that you have control. You don't have control. They're letting you believe it to manipulate you. It's the perfect manipulation.
And we were shown that early on our investigations.
Absolutely.
It tore our team apart, so...
Yeah, we're still trying to find all the pieces of people.
Well, they also have the Conjuring mirror from the movie The Conjuring and the whole story with that. And it was used to summon spirits. So you can go see that. And then, like I said, they have the whole possessed Annabelle doll. So on Halloween, they have this event coming up, A Night with Annabelle. It's $200.
Nice.
Yeah, $200, but you get like this dinner and you get to do a whole bunch of stuff. So, okay, that's fine. But they're going to take this Annabelle doll out. Now, when you go to this museum on a regular day or whatever, and they tell you, don't tap in the window, don't say anything to her, the spirit's this, the spirit's that, we can't take it out. It's like this really huge thing.
I hear they're going to pull it out.
They're going to pull it out, but this is what they say. This is their quote. This is why it's safe. They're going to drench their hands in a container of blessed holy water. Then they're going to take a thick comforter to wrap around the doll and carefully remove it. And their hands will never directly contact or touch the doll.
Oh, that should do it.
Yeah. That's going to make you safe.
Well, these comforters these days. I mean,
must be a Martha Stewart's.
Yeah, they're good. Holy water. That's one of my it's one of my favorite ones. Since when does water become holy?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
You can't bless water. You can only bless people.
Yeah.
The only thing that can be holy is people.
Yeah.
So blessed water doesn't exist. So I'm sorry for all those who believe that you can bless water and it has some sort of power and authority. It does not. There's nothing biblical about it. It doesn't exist.
And then people will say, well, why the baptism thing? But, if you read Genesis, it says water was the only thing that God's Spirit moved upon, right? And he didn't have to, and so that's a pretty major thing. But you have to be connected to God and have that power through God. It's not like water itself is holy and you can use it as
the
power.
water isn't. Even in baptism, the water, it's an act of cleansing.
It's the act that's the power.
Right. It's not the fact that, that was special water, because in the time they were doing it, it was the river with John the Baptist.
Yeah,
there was nothing special about Jordan water.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of a mess, actually.
Exactly.
Muddy, in fact.
So I just think it's so stupid for anybody to be doing this. I couldn't believe this. I was like, what is going on? And I've always revered them. Well, Ed's gone now, but for their work and just some of the things that they're doing. They are working with a paranormal group, the New England paranormal group out there. So, but I would never, ever tempt spirits. We've dealt with something, when you deal with something demonic and you've been face to face with it, you truly have, and you're not warped to think that you can control it and you see it for what it is, you don't want to even mess with it anymore.
No.
So
you don't.
That's crazy. So, okay, on that note, let's talk more about some false beliefs.
Okay. You want to?
Yeah.
That sounds great, Heidi. I can't wait to get started.
Misconceptions. All right. Now, we got each and every culture in the world. Every civilization has these notions and stories and beliefs of spiritual entities, right? It's universal. But, no civilization, whether it's primitive or modern or advanced or even behind, have ever been able to prove it.
Correct.
Do you think we ever will?
No.
The short of it, no. You don't think we're ever going to be able to prove that spirits exist?
Oh, if we can prove here on this earth, like before... Plenty of people in the in the supernatural, but they want to experience it or proof of it. How do you prove it?
You can't prove spiritual aspects. People are going to come...
Well, there's a certain amount of proof for those who are sensitive to seeing things, hearing things, and feeling things.
Yeah.
But not everybody can.
We got... Hey, I just want to tell you.
Yeah, hey.
We got a little message
What?
from Mike in Arizona. General Sid. He says, "Hello, guys. Love your shows. Keep up the good work."
That just popped in?
Yeah.
What?
Hey, Mike.
Mike, what?
Thanks for listening.
He just came in just like that.
Yeah, he did. So if you go on Spreaker.com while we're live.
Should I go do that?
No, you're here. Don't.
Oh.
I don't want. We can talk. You don't have to message
Well, I
me.
want to do it. I want to message somebody.
Well, you can listen to another podcast when it's live message. But if someone else wants to chime in, they can just go to the chat and say hey, and we'll give them a shout out.
What?
So you gotta say hey to Mike.
Hey, sup, dude?
Anyways. But, yeah, you've got all these people taking pictures and video and stuff, and they're trying to prove I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Well, you're always going to have disbelievers. And the thing is with believing or not believing is experiencing or not experiencing.
Exactly.
So you experience it, you're a believer. Because when you start feeling and seeing things and things are happening, people can say all day long, well, that's not real. Really? Well, it's pretty real to me because
Right.
I just seen what happened. So for those, every once in a while we'll get the emails, oh, you people are just a bunch of, hocus pocus people. You don't know what you're doing. You're full of crap or whatever. You know what? Fine. I don't care. But I've experienced plenty to know that
Right.
unfortunately, or fortunately, it's real.
Yeah.
Because it does help tell us that, look, there's a little more to life than death. And you can be a non-believer in God and begin to experience these things and begin to realize, wow, there is more to life. It doesn't end here. There is more. Maybe you don't have the answers to where it's going, what it is, or anything like that, but you can say, through this paranormal aspect, there's more to life. We're not just dead.
Right.
There's something else. And so with that thought in mind, it may invoke you to look further. I'll use another big word. Wow! Are you kidding me? Wow! Just to check these things out, and say, I think the paranormal stuff that we've done in the past and the stuff that we got into, if anything, it took my Christianity a little stronger because I realized it's not just a book anymore. It's just not theories and thoughts. I've experienced things that the Bible said is and was and what's going on, and I've seen things knowing that there is another realm that I'm not aware of, but I'm becoming aware of. So
that's why people are surprised that we don't paranormal investigate or ghost hunt. It's like, but that's not what we do. We investigate the supernatural.
We help people.
We help people, but we don't need proof, and we don't need to prove
anything. When somebody calls us and they have a problem, they don't need to have any proof.
Or if they say, "Hey, can you confirm?" Well, sure, we can, and if there is,
and we do.
There's
We
a
go there
problem.
and say, "Yeah, you're nuts."
No.
No.
We don't say. Well, we don't tell them that.
Here's a fresh box of Fruit Loops. We gotta go. Did I say that? I'm live?
Yeah.
Oh,
Great. There go half our
great.
clients. We love you.
Plenty of people believe in the supernatural, don't they?
Yeah.
But they want to experience it.
And some want.
They want proof.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that want to experience, and they want the proof. So they're like, that's why they go to these things.
Right.
That's why they go to these things. They want to experience something. Well, it's God's in control.
Hit or miss.
Not everybody's, it may not be for you. I mean, look at before I met you. I really had almost very, very, very little history of any of this.
Right.
So, and then I met you, and all this starts happening, and it just changed my whole...
Yeah. But that's because I have a way. I change people.
You got a way about her.
Well,
I don't know what it is.
And that's, and we, by our experiences is how we gain faith or how we lose faith. It depends. So it just, I don't know. But you enter in the ghost hunter or the paranormal investigator.
That's
in this.
right. A.K.A. the paranormal investigator.
Thanks to paranormal fads via TV, books,
TV,
internet.
man.
Apparently, plumbers, cops, and college students know more about
That's
the
right.
supernatural than
plumbers! Yeah. Yeah.
Well, just because someone watches a TV show or reads a book or goes on the internet doesn't mean that they know more about the supernatural than people have been doing it for years.
Little FYI here, TV shows do not mean experience.
Or expertise. That's for sure.
Or expertise or that.
Well, you never know. You can learn from your experiences.
We could.
And
I
you
haven't.
gain wisdom through...
I prefer to make the same mistake over and over to see if I can ever just get through it.
Like a bad dream, like Groundhog Day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it. It's like, you know what? I'm going to make this mistake work.
Like, like Groundhog Day with Bill Murray.
Yeah.
And then what about Butterfly Effect? That was a good movie.
Yeah.
With Ashton
But
Kutcher.
it really worked out good for Bill Murray at the end.
Yeah, not Ashton.
And he learned some pretty cool stuff.
That's true.
He really
And he
did.
got the chick in the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of professional people who are seeking answers and truth and proof. But over 100 years ago, there was a society for psychical research, and it was formed in the UK.
We have people listen to us in the UK.
Yeah, we have a lot of UK listeners.
I say
Hey!
hi to all the UK people. Of course, I don't know when they're going to hear it because they're probably sleeping. But
Well, actually, a lot of people listen live
yeah.
too. But
you know, we should have one of them. I should just get. I have something that gives me different time zones, so I can know who I can talk to
that'd be
that
fun.
might still be listening
Well,
at
anybody,
this exact time, which might be
anybody
3
in
o'clock.
Wisconsin, hey. But so this society, the SSPR, their purpose is to understand
SSPR.
events and abilities that commonly described as psychic or paranormal.
Apparitions and hauntings were one of their focal points.
Yeah, well, they're parapsychologists. Remember Bill Murray in Ghostbusters? No, what's that movie? Yeah.
What?
What's the movie? Ghostbusters. The movie Ghostbusters. Bill Murray was a parapsychologist.
I can't believe you're even asking me this. This is part of what? Are you okay?
I'm just saying.
Some
that's
things
what he
you
was.
just don't forget.
Did
and
you know
this
he
is
was a
one of them.
parapsychologist?
Of course I knew it.
Okay, what does a parapsychologist do?
There's two of psychologists together, a parapsychologist.
Okay, I'm going to give you that because that just sounded cool. That was good. Well, anyways, they study how the human mind works with the paranormal. Mm-hmm. Remember the movie Carrie?
Yeah.
That was creepy, that movie. The original with Sissy Spacek. But how she could make things move and stuff. There's a lot of people who say they can do that.
She was
I
an
don't know.
actress, though.
Yeah. Sissy Spacek. Yeah.
Well, we can give you answers, but there's power only in truth. To find answers to anything, you have to be prepared to look at all different angles. And that's sometimes people don't want to look at other angles.
Right.
They want to look at their angle and make it work. Like I said, you make the mistake and keep wanting to make that mistake work. It's like, no, can't keep doing that.
Well, like me, I'm a perfect example. I'll say
Making
right away.
mistakes?
Yeah, I do. I make a lot of mistakes. I'll say,
Yeah.
oh, it's a demon. But I don't just put a period there. Now, that's what I'm going to focus on, and I'm going to try to disprove it. Because I'd rather not be a demon, and I'd like to.
Well,
so.
to find truth, you're going to have to test and try what works and what doesn't. That's trial and error.
Yeah.
That's with a lot of different things. And a lot of our experience through the years has been through trial and error. And unfortunately, the errors always come back on us as personally.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we shouldn't do that anymore since we're all like demon-possessed and floating around the house.
I know, we were not demon-possessed floating around the house. Gosh. Well, maybe I was once.
Hurry up with my pot pie.
Well, there's many people and groups and teams that want proof, and that's okay. I mean, but there's so many out there that think they know what they're doing, and it's
what
all
will you
safe.
do when the big bloody head floating around inside your head begins to just ooze and pus worms and stuff out?
What
You're
are you
trying to
talking
sleep.
about?
I really don't know.
Ooze and pus worms?
Yeah.
From
Happens.
where? It happens?
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the proof.
Okay. Well, it's believed that there's actually no scientific literature covering paranormal investigations, but there's hundreds of books and journals. Yeah, I said but with one T, not two.
Oh.
Thanks. There are hundreds of books and journals with proceedings past to present by the SPR and also the American Society for Psychical Research. And
These people just like to come up with names so they can have all them initials.
those acronyms.
The
I love
letters.
acronyms.
It's like,
I'm an acronym person.
Yes, PRDV, DBO, XWLIZ. What are you? I'm a janitor.
Phenomena. Do, 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 do. I'm a janitor. And then there's also the Journal of Scientific Exploration. So if you look these things up, you're going to find a lot of documentation hundreds of years ago. So, you got to be careful to get too excited, though, because people concentrate on terms and logistics of paranormal investigating. but they're more concerned with how they're going to go about doing things in these terms and knowing this. And it's like,
Well, sometimes it's just about impress other people with their big terms and knowledge of what they do instead of just saying. And we try not to do that. I mean, if I even began to express some of the knowledge that I have wrapped up in this skull, oh boy, I'm here to tell you, we would blow the minds off of many people, Heidi. Absolutely. Okay. I'm just glad to be,
Thanks.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm back to the rest of the story.
Well, let's talk about ghost hunting and paranormal investigating.
Isn't that what we've been doing?
No, but we're going to talk specifically about that and some of the misconceptions. No, we don't talk about ghost hunting every week.
Oh.
No. We talk about crazy stuff, but not always about ghost hunting because we don't do it and we don't like to... What are you doing with your jaw?
Crazy.
Oh, you're preparing to sing? You're getting in the mode, the zone?
Crazy for feeling so blue.
Okay. So...
I'm crazy. Never say.
Yeah, you are. You notice how everybody thinks you have to ghost hunt or paranormal investigate at night?
No.
Yeah, they do. They think
Yeah,
that.
I know.
You don't have to.
Well, because you got to be in the dark, and it's got to be scary, and you got to have just one candle lit, and you got to whisper, and all this stuff. It's like, no, a lot of times we go to a major rock concert, and that's where we do it.
Yeah?
No, it's not.
Oh, I was like, wow, where was I?
I don't even think we've ever been to a rock concert, you and me.
No, I don't like concerts.
Yeah.
It's all loud and people are ramming into you. No, forget it.
Forget it.
Shh. No. But one time I sat in my living room with two of my friends and we watched the New Kids on the Block.
I'm going to go see her.
Yeah, I know you like Cyndi Lauper. But I was a big New Kids on the Block fan. And one time me and my friend, we made her little sister watch New Kids on the Block video, Hanging Tough. Oh. That was like my living room concert. What was the first concert you ever went to in your life?
It was either Boston or Bon Jovi or something.
Yeah. Bon Jovi at Summerfest.
Hey, I was just living on a prayer back then.
Yeah, okay. Me too. Bon Jovi was mine too. Oh.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. In fact, they weren't even popular. Like, they're like, it's a new breakout band, and this is Bon Jovi, and they sing Runaway. I was like, oh, they're so awesome.
I seen them in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeehaw. That's cool. I saw them at Milwaukee, Wisconsin Summerfest.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, anyways, yeah, that was fun.
You guys need to know that.
That's very important.
It is.
Living down the lane. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, so you don't have to investigate at night. You know what? Day is just as good because...
Just as good.
Who said,
Maybe even better because you can see.
Me is so scared.
You won't run into things.
And you know what? Here's a huge thing. Just because something is technical does not mean it's foolproof. If you look at your methods, your system, logic, control, that's how you're going to gather your info and apply your methods and assess data. But most importantly, pay attention to who's in your team. Because if you've got other people who say they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and they don't, now all your stuff's all messed up. Like, I've heard people with EVPs and you hear them talking and they're like, oh, that was something else. And it's like, no, that was somebody sitting next to you. Now you don't know because everybody's talking. So you just got to be real careful with your stuff.
Yeah, I remember when we did our stuff back then that if we'd always say if someone needed to cough or sneeze or made any noise at all, during a quiet time or whatever, we'd say, Scott, I just sneezed.
Right.
So now we know that noise was made and I just sneezed.
Yeah.
So we know that this is not part of an EVP thing. I made a noise.
Yeah, you have to do that because...
I made noises anyway.
Yeah, you did. God.
Get out!
That was great. So when you are investigating the paranormal or ghost hunting or whatever, why are you investigating?
Why?
Is it just the thrill? Are you curious? Do you seriously want answers? Like, is it personal? Have you already formed your opinion?
And there could be personal. It could be people who have had experience with family members, different things, and they're wanting to understand this to try to help. And that's how we got involved. We told the story, I think, a week or 2 or 3 weeks ago. We got involved in this because we wanted to actually present some sort of outcome, some sort of help for people experiencing problems. It's like, oh, great, my house is haunted or I'm having problems. What are you going to do about it? Oh, nothing. I was like, well, that's not a solution. I mean, what are you going to do about it? Well, and if you watch all this stuff on TV, nobody does anything.
No.
In a lot of cases, they don't want anything done. They just want you to investigate their place to get attention.
Right.
But when it comes to individuals, that are being bothered or troubled, they want
Scared.
some solution.
Yeah.
And the people we met, some of these people are very scared.
Yeah, and they're being physically.
I mean, they want you to do
bothered,
something
too.
right now.
like get rid of
We've
it.
had people where they contact us. Can you come over now? I'm like, okay, you're like 3 states away. Probably not.
Like not this second. Oh yeah, yeah. It's what are you gonna do? You know, we want
Maybe
to.
tomorrow morning.
We do have a life, but we will try. We'll work around it. But then you gotta, some people want to prove that they don't exist. So they've already got their mind made up too. And if you're a science kind of person, maybe you're just interested in the science of it, like Egon, from Ghostbusters. Okay. So it depends on what aspect you're going into this. If you can go in with all of those, maybe that would be good, but most of the equipment that's used to detect the state or change in the environment, that's all it is. It's not to detect ghosts.
Right.
So just because it says ghost meter doesn't mean it detects ghosts. Oh my gosh.
But it makes a good sale.
It does. People are hacking these radios and they pick up all these different frequencies, and they'll ask a ghost a question. They call it a ghost box or spirit box, and hi, hey, it's like you're picking up all the. I could do that with my walkie-talkie. You got to be so careful with what you use and what you say is accurate.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Do you hear that? I mean, we've said this
anything.
before, but I was like, there's so many times I hear these EVPs on some of these shows, and they sit there and listen to 18 hours of EVPs, and out of the whole thing they get some little. I'm like, there it is. You hear that? I think he's saying, go away and never come back. It's like, what? Where did you come up with all this and this? Where'd you get all this? Do you hear this?
And some are really awesome.
Yeah,
some are
but
really
most of them
good.
aren't.
Yeah.
It's like,
And same with us, and I've always wanted to hear something that wasn't there, and and sometimes I did. I heard stuff that was there. So there. But
so buttons on your wear.
and just because an EMF meter detects electromagnetic fields doesn't mean it's picking up on supernatural waves. People are like, "Oh, look at
Buddy's trying to catch a wave, man."
A lot of times it's picking up underground stuff and
Like
I don't
worms?
know. Yeah, worms, electromagnetic worms. So they're like Fukushima worms. They're from the power plant. All right, so we don't have enough supernatural phenomena experience or intelligence to design or any kind of equipment to detect it. We just
Not
don't.
really.
We don't know enough about it to say, oh, this is what we need. So it's okay to admit it, and it's okay not to ever know. But it's fun to try and figure it out.
Got the
But
Ghost Finder 3000. That'll do it.
do you remember when way back it was, I think even before Ghost Hunters was a TV show. So this was years ago. And we found a team, and I don't know what state they were from, but they actually had vacuums that they made into something, and they were saying that they were taking care of ghosts for people. And
I remember that. They
I'm
had
like,
pictures
you've got to
of
be
them.
kidding me.
Yeah, they had the hoses and the packs on their back.
You're like, it's a vacuum. Oh my gosh. We've come a long way, I guess. But it wasn't even a joke
We
either.
kind of wanted that, though.
Oh, yeah.
They
Well,
look cool.
I want the vacuum. Let's do it.
Can't get rid of your spirits, we can sure clean up your spiders.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that's great. So, and then, what's up with this certificate for paranormal investigations? Okay, so if someone says they're a certified paranormal investigator or exorcist, who certified them?
Who certified them?
Other people who just said, hey, let's start a class, certified people, because I've been doing this for 3 years.
There's only one person that could certify any of these people anyways. Really.
Yeah, me.
Oh, Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
He's the only one that could do it.
Oh, that's
He's a
true.
bioexorcist, the only one that has the authority to do so.
What about Ghostbusters? They can hire you to help.
They can help, but they can't certify you.
Oh.
They can help clean up your mess, but if you want to be certified, you have to see Beetlejuice.
But they had those nuclear packs on them, so that's pretty major.
Look, I'm not going to argue with you on this.
Only Beetlejuice, huh?
Only Beetlejuice is the only one that's got the right to do it. The authority.
Because he had the card.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, his head's this big now, and he's in the waiting room.
I'm sure it grew back.
Oh, you think so? Maybe.
Yeah.
They never made a Beetlejuice, too. They totally should have.
They should have. They still could.
We watch it every October because it's just the funniest movie.
Yeah, that and Young Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Classic films in our house.
So you guys will have a lot of those puns in October on our shows because that's what we watch. But I think that we are our own best detectors for the spiritual. We are spiritual beings, And we can detect spiritual stuff if we go into it thinking, and not, oh, did you hear that? I'm talking about when you just know. You feel something, the hairs on your, arms stand up at the back of your neck. You feel something, you get a chill.
That's why I shave the back of my neck.
Oh, good.
Because I don't want the hair standing up.
Oh.
It looks stupid.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it looks cool.
It don't.
Ooh, yeah, it's like a ghost detector. Ding!
It doesn't look cool at all.
Totally looks cool. How do you know? You can't see the back of your neck.
I carry a mirror with me to look.
Oh, you do? You carry a mirror with you?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
When you just walk around going,
I do.
How do you see anything if you're looking in the back?
I have ways. I use reflections off of, like ponds and stuff with a mirror.
Ponds?
Bath water.
Okay.
Driplets in a small teaspoon, and I got ways.
All right. Got ways. All right. So anyways, and this is the last thing. Okay. So just because someone died there doesn't mean...
I don't know what I'm doing.
If someone dies there, it does not mean that
I want to look at
it's
my
haunted.
reflection. Look at my reflection.
And that's who or what is haunting the place. A lot of people are like, oh, a little girl died here. That's probably who it is. That doesn't mean nothing. A lot of people die a lot of places.
Yeah, people die every day.
Yeah, so I don't think that immediately either.
I mean, there is some things with wrongful deaths or untimely deaths, but
not always, too, either.
The demonic world will always try to sell you on the old lady and the small child and the small young boy. It's just like, it's just a this and just a that and just a that.
Let's talk to it. Let's accept it. And it's like,
play with it a little while.
Good luck with that.
It was just a match, and then all of California was on fire.
Good points. Very
just
good.
A little flame. Now look. Poof.
Or, when you've got, like, haunting activity, and they're like, oh, you have a poltergeist, which, we know means a noisy ghost. But the thing is that scientifically, that term is in regards to a living person.
Yes.
Someone's under emotional or stress or whatever, and their mind unconsciously acts out with a psychokinetic ability.
Yes.
That was what the word poltergeist was deemed from. But people somehow turned it into ghost. What are you doing? Are you doing yoga?
Huh?
Meditation or something?
What?
Or it's a
what are you talking about?
What's that?
What is
What were you mooing about? What were you mooing about? Okay. Oh, and ghosts and apparitions are not actually seen or experienced in poltergeist cases anyways. So if you're seeing stuff and stuff's getting real crazy, it's not usually poltergeist.
Usually not.
No. So, but, you read, everybody's got a different opinion, different story online, and you're just going to pick and choose which one you know.
Pick and choose.
And then you've got people, and we know plenty of these people, who say they're an exorcist or a demonologist. Lots of people claim that they are, right? And then I challenge people to read Acts 19 about that.
Yeah.
And, it's an interesting thing about people who thought that they had the power to cast stuff out. And that wasn't, I based my whole book on it. On that whole story.
You can use the name.
With 7 sons of Sceva.
And under the name, there is power and authority.
Yep.
But
if you don't have the power and authority, but you think you do.
The example I always like to use is in the old days, in order to do things for the king or whatever, you'd have to have his seal upon you. You'd have to have that stamp of his ring on you or with you on paper, parchment paper, whatever, that it would allow you to do certain things. If you were saying, I represent the king, and he said, tear down the village or whatever it is, you'd have to have that. And without that, it was like, okay, maybe you've got the name of the king, but where's the seal? Because this piece of paper, whatever you're shining in front of me, means nothing without that seal.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it doesn't mean anything. And so it's kind of the same thing. So you can go around shooting out the name of Jesus and doing this and doing that, and under the authority, certain things will have to obey. But, you start casting out a demon or thinking you can do certain things because, I know who Jesus is. Well, that demon's going to go someplace, and he might just visit you because you got no protection. You got the seal.
We learned the hard way.
You got to have the seal. What is the seal? Read your Bible and find out.
We learned the hard way. I
know what it is, and it's not because I didn't eat fish this last Friday either.
It's not holy water, drenching your hands in holy water.
That won't work either.
Well, exorcism is a Catholic rite, and there's a myth that only a priest can do it, but that's not true. Sure. But also, not just anybody can either, then someone says, well, I'm a demonologist, so I study demons. How do you study demons?
How do you study them?
Yeah.
There's only a mention of...
They study you, trust me.
There's only a mention of, really, by name, 2 in the whole Bible.
bad guy 1 and bad guy 2.
Yeah, Baal and
Satan.
And Satan.
But they even say that might be the same one, too. We don't even know.
So
you can't study demons. You can't find... And
I
then,
have a whole book of demons.
And then you get people
This
who
is
say...
Bob the demon over here.
Oh, we found this ancient book, and
He has no
it was
legs, that's
before
why
the
we call him
Bible was
Bob.
written. Just because it was written before the Bible doesn't mean that it's true either. A lot of people say that. So you don't study demons. Anyways, but anyways, so yeah, the whole holy water and sage smudging stuff, stuff doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
It's the power it's got to be a spiritual power. And if it's not a spiritual power...
You're fighting spiritual things, you have to fight spiritual things with spiritual things.
Yep, exactly. So, Okay, another thing. Not even on the whole ghost stuff. Did you ever hear the phrase, there must be a full moon tonight because people were acting all crazy? Have you ever heard that? Oh, Lord. You know who would love that? Eric from Pure Truth Radio. He loves werewolves. That was for you, Eric.
Who's that I see walking in them woods? Oh, I think it's a little bit Riding Hood.
Are you done?
Yeah,
Oh,
man, that was,
You were zoning. I know. Yeah. Well, you've heard that phrase, right? When people say that. But when I was a kid, I used to call it lunar lunacy because I noticed it too.
Lunar lunacy. That's all right. That's cool.
But check this out. I wrote this down. William Shakespeare wrote, I think it was from one of his plays, but it is the very error of the moon. She comes more near the earth than she was wont and makes men mad. And then, Roman goddess of the moon, Luna.
Luna.
Prefix, lunatic. So there's something there. Mm-hmm. And Aristotle believed that because the brain was so moist, it was the moistest organ in the body, that it was susceptible to wicked influences of the moon. Ooh.
Ugh.
Yeah, but it is
The
a
stomach's
fact.
pretty moist.
It is a fact that there's more crime on nights of a full moon.
It's because it can see better.
You know what?
On a full moon that's really bright, you can see better, and they can commit more crime.
It's funny that you'd say that because that is what skeptics will say.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. People are just... Moonstruck. They call it Moonstruck. It induces...
I've seen that movie.
Yeah. No, I'm not talking about the movie, though.
Yeah, it was with Cher.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not talking about the movie. You're talking about the term.
Oh.
Erratic behaviors, suicide, psychic hospital admissions, homicides, ER visits, traffic accidents, violence, and animals acting weird. All these things are so high on a night of a full moon. So there's got to be something to it. And they're like, it's just a state of mind and you think that or whatever. But I disagree because animals don't know that. And people are like, hey, it's a
they
full
talk
moon. Let's
about
go rob something.
It's not just the fact that it's moon, but there's a different, I think there's a different pull of gravity and stuff. There's a little bit of a different change. It's not just the fact that the moon's bright and white and big. It has to do with there is some physical
energy.
Yeah, there's different things, and we can look that up, and I know it, but I can't recall it, that there's actual real change that goes on.
Yeah.
And so
Well, that's what the
it'll affect
tides and
some
everything.
different people. But that's why I always wear a good ring of garlic around my neck, because I realize that I can't be affected that way.
Okay. And if we want a little
And I always
pizza, I'll add some oregano and
right.
Yeah.
And yeah, just so you know.
Well, what do you think is going to happen this Sunday then?
I think this Sunday, and I'm not even kidding, is coming right after this Saturday.
You think?
I'm pretty darn sure of it.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm going to go a little further.
Okay.
It's going to come before Monday. This week.
Okay. Well, a spectrum of lunar events are going to occur Sunday.
They sure are. I've actually checked this stuff out a lot, and some of this is more than just a little event. For those who really want to start looking into things, there's a lot to look into, but go ahead.
Well, there's a lunar eclipse that's going to coincide with a supermoon. It's going to happen at 9:07 p.m. Eastern time. You're going to have like 1 full hour to see it and about 3 hours total. So it's going to fade off as time. I am going to put a picture up of, I think it's like of the United States and Canada, but where you're going to be able to see it best.
Time.
Yeah, no, where you're going to be able, who's going to be able to see it best.
Oh.
We're in the Wisconsin's in the fair, so some people can see it good, some people are going to be poor.
Depending.
Yeah, but so as the moon's going to be in the closest proximity of the Earth, it's going to appear larger by 14%.
As the moon hits the sky like a big pizza pie, it's amore.
Okay, and so that's why it's called super, and it's also called the harvest moon, just because, well, this is the time of the harvest, so, you know, because it's fall and stuff. The moon's going to pass behind Earth.
Yes.
And it's going to go into its shadow, resulting in a red tint across the surface, which is called the blood moon. And what's interesting is this is brought up in the Bible, and people are like, oh, that's just because it's this. Well, right. That's what God's saying. You call it the blood moon, so do I. It's pretty simple. I mean, yeah.
That's where you got the name from, probably.
And, you know, Stonehenge, where they practiced a lot of, back in the Celtic days and stuff, and they practiced a lot of sacrifices and stuff, a lot of people are going to be there live reporting from doing the supermoon there. So that's interesting. Lots of spiritual stuff going on, like the Pope speaking to the U.S., and now we've got the 4 blood moons. This is the last of the 4. There was a man named Mark Blitz. He discovered the 4 blood moon phenomena. You want to talk a little bit about what that
Well,
is?
there's a lot of these things coincide with some major biblical events and things, and you can research this all over the place, and it's, you know, very biblical. In fact, you can pick it up in Job 2. And it's reiterated again in the book of Acts, that in the last days when the moon turns to blood and all these different things. So it mentions that. Yeah. But little history, April 15th, 2014, the blood moon lands on Passover. October 8th, 2014, you know, this is last year. These are the blood moons we had last year and the ones we're having now. That landed on the Feast of Tabernacles, which is a really big, you know, Israeli thing.
Well, just so people know, too, because if a lot of people don't understand the Bible or God or whatever, God's chosen people, special people, are the Jewish people, so a lot of it is around them and their major events.
Right.
So this is why this is important to all of us.
April 4th, 2015, landed on Passover again.
Yep.
September 28th, 2015, which is coming up.
Sunday. It
will end once again, or land on the Feast of Tabernacles. This is not a coincidence that these blood moons, whenever they have occurred, always land. It's not like they're moving the holiday around.
Right.
And you can't move the blood moon around.
Yeah.
God knew from the beginning of time that it's going to land on specific dates and times.
Right.
And each one of these are going to represent something. And as you can go back in history, all these little events that take place is very specific. So 4 times in the last 500 years, they have all coincided with major Jewish events. The Spanish Inquisition, the Israeli War, and the fact that they became a nation again in 1948. So these blood moons always landed on
these
major things.
Jewish stuff, right?
Yeah, all Jewish stuff. I mean, and we have to say, well, what's that got to do with us? Do you realize there's more Jewish people in the United States than there is in Israel?
Yeah. Yep.
We are the largest nation of Jewish people in the world. And we are an extension of Israel. So what's going to happen to Israel? It's going to happen to us.
Yeah, because they're everywhere.
And so as we turn our backs on Israel and different things, you can count on God beginning to turn his back on us.
Yeah.
As a country. So anyways, Genesis 1:14, God says this, "Let there be lights in the sky of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years."
So the lights in the sky for signs. He says it right there.
Yeah, well, even the when they were the wise men were seeking for, they were reading the signs in the heavens that, like, well, there's a birth of a king going on, or this is a huge event. We need to go.
Right.
And this wouldn't have been just 3 people. This was probably, a lot of times you do a little story when you're a kid. Oh, just 3 little wise men. No, this is probably huge tribes of people because these were kings.
Yeah, and there said 3 wise men. Just said there were 3 gifts.
Yeah, there was. These were 3 major guys showing up here, and they went a long way to do it. And they were following signs for a long time. Doesn't mean we're supposed to be reading the stars and doing it, but God says they are signs. He designed everything around his people. The animals, the water, the food, the stars, the planets, everything he designed for us and for him. And now in Book of Joel it says, "I will show wonders," and I was talking about this a little bit just a few minutes ago. the book says, I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the coming of the great awesome day of the Lord.
I just have to say, though, when you were reading that, you know what I thought of? It says blood and fire and pillars of smoke. Lately, like the last few months, there's been tons of bloodshed, right? Wars and everything.
Yeah.
Fire, there's been wildfires all over. Pillars of smoke, a lot of things are erupting.
Well, and this sun shall be turned into darkness. You realize if there's any... here in the United States, we have a super volcano or super whatever in Yellowstone. And there's different places that have major volcanic action. When you have major volcanic eruptions, major ones, the sun will be turned into darkness because it'll be full of ash. You won't be able to see. Yep. So there's a whole bunch of different things. Actually, I remember reading this years ago, and I didn't think moon into blood. How is that?
Yeah,
well, I didn't know what blood moons were. Right. They weren't new, but I just didn't know about them.
Oh, well, you didn't hear about them a lot, but because of this whole 4 blood moon, which is extremely rare.
Right.
So, it's just something to consider because, is there going to be a lot of weird activity? Is there going to be spiritual things? Is there going to be major events? That's something that,
there's a lot of events right now that could be happening with currencies and economic problems around the world, with leadership problems, Iraq, Iran, Syria, Russia, China. Who's going to start what? What's going to go on? Maybe more of a natural thing.
Yeah,
it's only going to take a couple major events to cause this world to go into major chaos.
And that's not supernatural. I don't know what is.
No, it is supernatural. God said it was going to happen, and He not only said it's going to happen, He gave you plenty of clues of when it's going to happen. There's something I tell folks. It doesn't really matter what religion you are, where you come from. Most recognized religions in the world, I don't care what they are, will say, you're living in the end times. Something's going to happen. So, I'm not saying they're right or wrong about what their beliefs are, but what I am saying is, you say, well, I don't think this or that. I don't care if you're Buddhist or if you're Indian or whatever you are. Many of them will say, yeah, they're waiting for their God to come back or something's going to happen. This is not just a Christian thing or just a Jewish thing. All of them will say, yeah, there's something going on. It's not good.
Well, we all live under the same sun and moon, so it's going to affect us all.
Yep.
So be watching for that Sunday.
Be watching.
Ooh, that's it. We're done.
That's it. We're done.
October, we are going to have a Halloween series every Friday. We're going to talk about the occult. We're going to talk about Aleister Crowley with Justin and Eric from Paratruth Radio.
Justin and Eric. This time, maybe we're going to be with them on air.
Yes,
and we're going to make sure we can hear them this time.
Yeah, we'll get it working out.
Yeah.
We're also going to do a call-in show where people are going to call in.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to do the history of Halloween, the last Friday of October.
I really want people to listen to this Halloween thing. There's so many people out there. And the information that we have turned us around many years ago from not doing the Halloween thing at all.
There's a lot of interesting stuff.
And some people say, well, we don't believe it. You know what? You don't have to say that I don't go Halloween or trick-or-treating because I don't want to do the evil stuff and I don't believe in that. It's like, you know what? If you partake in something that you have knowledge of being wrong, well, then you're part of it.
Well, we'll get into that in October. You were on a tangent.
That's just...
Woo, I love it. Yeehaw.
It's all right. The Bible says that hell has broadened itself quite big. Everybody can fit.
Well, all right.
All right.
You can listen to us anytime, any episode.
Not anytime.
Yeah, anytime.
What if you're sleeping?
They can listen to us while they're sleeping. They can put it on.
You can't pay attention.
Well, they can still listen. If you put any little thingies, you could subliminal messages.
Yep.
Via Spreaker.com and iTunes. If you have questions or comments about this episode, or you got some spiritual thing, or you want to talk,
I like emails. I like good emails. I like funny emails. Sometimes I get some pretty funny emails.
But you can email us if you have any questions.
I just like the funny ones. I get some good ones, man. I crack up.
Oh, like the one chick, she said you made her laugh so hard. Didn't she say she swallowed her gum? She had gum stuck in her lungs or something? Oh, my gosh.
I almost died on that. I was laughing so hard.
He was.
People say how I make them laugh or whatever. It's like you don't realize some of these comments that come back at me. I laugh pretty hard, too. Some of them are really funny.
So you can email us at talksupernatural@gmail.com.
Gmail.com.
We're also on Twitter, so you can follow us at
Twitter.
TSR Parapod.
TSR Parapod.
And you can hashtag Paratweet.
Hashtag Paratweet.
If you go to our Facebook page, I'll have some links and pictures and videos and stuff up of this episode, so that's pretty cool.
What do you have pictures of? Me?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll take some pictures this weekend. We'll put some pictures up of us being cray-cray.
Cray.
It's our anniversary this weekend.
Anniversary.
So.
We've been married 3 months. Yeah.
No.
All right, until next week, freaks and geeks. We're not shutting up. We're just shutting down. Stay freaky. Stay bizarre.
This was a tortured place to be. So many things to torment me. And as I stumble down this road, it takes a toll. I need an intervention. But I can see it coming. Some things just can't be explained.
And that's all, folks.